Picture this. January the 1st, 1978. 10:30 in the morning. Your mum's standing by the front door in her best dress, the one she wore to your cousin's wedding last summer. She's holding a lump of coal in her hand, not for the fire, for luck. The house still smells of cigarette smoke from last night, stale beer. The ashtray on the sideboard hasn't been emptied yet. Your dad's nursing a cup of tea in the kitchen, looking rough, but your mum's been up since dawn, waiting, watching the street through the net curtains, checking the clock every 5 minutes. This wasn't just superstition. This was how Britain welcomed the new year. The first person to cross your threshold after midnight had to be right. Dark hair. That was the rule. Your mum wouldn't let a blonde man through the door first. Bad luck. A woman? Worse. It had to be a dark-haired man, tall if possible, and he had to bring gifts. Coal for warmth, salt for flavour, bread so you'd never go hungry. Some families wanted a coin, too. A silver sixpence if you had one. Your mum's waiting for Jimmy from number 47. Your dad's mate from the pub. Dark hair, reliable. He knows the drill. He's done it 3 years running now. At 5 to midnight last night, he went outside, stood in the cold in his good jacket with the coal in his pocket, the salt wrapped in paper, a bit of bread your mum had given him earlier. Dead on midnight, he knocked. 3 times, hard enough to hear over the noise from next door's party. Your dad let him in. Jimmy walked straight to the kitchen table, didn't say a word, placed the coal down first, then the salt, then the bread. Only then did he speak. Happy New Year! Your dad poured him a whiskey. Had to, even though money was tight, even though there was only half a bottle left. The first footer got his drink. That was the rule. That's what made the year start right. Mrs. Patterson at number 43 got it wrong last year. Her ginger-haired son-in-law turned up first. He didn't. No. Just came round early to drop off a gift. Crossed the threshold at 10 past midnight. She nearly cried. I wouldn't talk about it for weeks. Everyone on the street knew. Bad luck for the whole year. And she'd had a rough year too. Her husband's back went. The boiler packed in. The car failed its MOT. See? The first footer mattered. Your mum knows this. That's why she's been up since 6. That's why she's dressed properly. That's why she's standing by the door with that coal just in case Jimmy forgot. Just in case something went wrong. Just in case a blonde postman knocks first or the woman from the corner shop pops round early. She's ready. She's protecting the year. Protecting the family. Making sure everything starts the way it should. The clock ticks. Your mum watches. Your dad drinks his tea. You're sitting on the stairs in your pyjamas, wondering why this matters so much. Why is your mum so worried about who walks through the door first? Why does a lump of coal and some salt make any difference at all? But they did. Back then, they really did. Because New Year's Day wasn't just another day. It was the day that set the tone for everything that followed. Get it wrong, and you'd pay for it. Get it right, and maybe, just maybe, this would be a good year. Walk into any house in Britain in 1975 and you'd find the same thing. New Year's Day had a rhythm, a pattern everyone followed. Your mum would have started the black bun on Boxing Day if you were Scottish. Fruit soaking in whiskey in a bowl covered with a tea towel. Raisins, currants, sultanas from the co-op. The pastry was plain. Flour, lard, water, nothing fancy. She'd pack it dense in a tin that had been in the family since before the war. 3 hours in the oven at gas Mark III. The smell filled the whole house, dark and rich and special. If you were English, it was steak pie for breakfast. Your mum made it New Year's Eve after tea. Braising steak from the butcher, 1 and 6 a pound. Onions, thick Bistow, gravy, all packed into pastry she'd rolled herself, into the oven overnight on the lowest setting. By morning, the whole house smelled of beef. Your dad would eat his with HP sauce, standing in the kitchen before anyone else was up. Substantial, your mum called it. Something to line your stomach after the night before. Then came the church service. 10:30. The church was freezing, but your mum made you go anyway. Your dad in his Sunday suit that smelled of mothballs. You and your sister squashed in the pew trying not to fidget. The vicar talked about fresh starts and new beginnings. Your gran sang the hymns without looking at the book, every word by heart. Afterwards, people stood outside wishing each other Happy New Year properly. Face to face, real conversation. By 11, the men were at the beach, Scarborough, Blackpool, Loo. The sea was grey and freezing. Your Uncle Frank in swimming trunks from 1959, telling everyone the cold was good for you. At noon exactly, they ran in. Not walking, ran. Like it made a difference. 3 minutes in the water. No more. Your chest seized. Your legs went numb. But you stayed in because that's what made you hard. What separated the men from the boys. The women went in too. Your Auntie Margaret. Your mum's friend from the WI. They'd come out red as lobsters, wrapped in towels that had been in the family since the war. Someone had a flask of Bovril ready. The visit started at 1 o'clock. Your mum had a list, written down, in order. First was always your gran's. She'd have the kettle on before you knocked. The good biscuits from Marks and Spencer in the tin with Balmoral on it. 20 minutes per house, that's what you gave them. Long enough to be polite. Not so long you looked like you were settling in. By 5 o'clock you'd done 8 houses, drunk enough tea to float a ship, eaten enough cake to feel sick, but you'd maintained the connections. Started the year right. The unspoken rules were everywhere. You didn't question the first footer. You didn't skip church, even if your head was pounding. You didn't refuse the steak pie or the black bun. You didn't complain about the cold water or the visiting. That's just how it was. The whole country is doing the same things. Every family follows the pattern. Nobody asked why. You did it because your parents did it. Because their parents did it. Because it meant something. This was Britain keeping its promises. To itself, to the past, to the future. New Year's Day wasn't just a holiday. It was proof that some things lasted, that tradition was held, that you were part of something bigger than yourself. The day itself was chaotic, beautiful chaos. Your mum is rushing between the kitchen and the front room. Your dad is trying to get everyone out the door for church on time. The steak pie burns your tongue because you ate it too fast. Your sister was crying because she wanted to stay in bed. The whole street is alive with people doing the same mad things at the same time. At the beach, your Uncle Frank would be showing off. First one in, deepest, staying the longest, coming out blue and shaking but grinning like he'd won something. The bloke from the garage trying to keep up. The doctor's wife goes deeper than any of the men, and nobody quite knows what to say about it. Kids running around the edge, daring each other, shrieking when the waves came in. Someone always forgot their towel. Someone always slipped on the rocks. Someone's trunks always split. But everyone stayed. Everyone cheered. Everyone pretended the freezing water felt good. The football in the park was war. Grown men sliding through mud, coming up filthy, elbows flying, tackles that'd get you arrested in a proper match. Your dad shouting at the ref, who wasn't really a ref, just the bloke from the chip shop who'd agreed to keep time. Goals argued over, fouls ignored. Someone always twisted an ankle. Someone always had to stop because they couldn't breathe. But when the ball went in, when you scored, the whole team piled on top of you like you'd won the cup. Joy! Pure joy! Even though you were freezing and soaked and covered in mud. At your gran's house, there was competition nobody talked about. Whose black bun was densest, whose steak pie had the best crust, who'd visited the most houses, who'd had the best first footer. Your Auntie Jean one-upped everyone in 1977. Her first footer was 6'4" with coal-black hair, and he'd brought a bottle of whiskey too. She mentioned it at every house, every single one. Things went wrong constantly. The coal got dropped on the carpet. The vicar's sermon went 20 minutes too long. Your mum forgot to pack the biscuits for your gran. Your dad's mate Jimmy was late one year, and a blonde milkman nearly knocked first. Panic. Absolute panic. Your mum practically threw herself at the door, but it was funny later. Stories to tell. Proof you'd survived another year despite everything. But here's what we didn't know then. What seemed normal was actually magic. The whole country moving together like a dance everyone knew the steps to. Your mum and your gran doing exactly what their mums and grans had done. The same rituals, the same timing, the same unspoken understanding of what mattered. We thought it'd always be there. We thought traditions lasted just because they were traditions. We didn't realize the connections were fragile, that they only worked because everyone agreed they mattered, that once people started saying it was too much effort or too old-fashioned or too cold or too boring, it'd all just stop. We didn't know that in 20 years nobody would make black buns from scratch, that the New Year's Day swims would become charity events with sponsors and social media instead of just neighbours being daft together. That church would be nearly empty. That visit would become a phone call. That first footing would become something your gran mentioned, but nobody actually did. We can't recreate it now, not really. You could make the steak pie, invite people round, but it wouldn't feel the same. Because it's not about the pie or the visiting or even the freezing water. It's about everyone doing it together. About knowing your neighbours were doing the same thing at the same time. About being part of something without having to think about it.